Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here, your somatic nutrition dietitian and intuitive eating expert. And I wanted to do another bit off of the last video I did on Monday around movement. And I want to address those of you who maybe are in this position. And those of you who aren't, just watch what happens in your body as well with that, okay? So this video really is for those who, I want to move, but you're having a hard time, like, okay, you're maybe blaming yourself or judging yourself for not getting moving. And that's, the paradigm that we pretty much live in, is that, like, if you want to do something, you just kind of, like, got to gut through it. And oftentimes there's no more gut through it left in the tank. If you've been trying to do that for decades, and you're also working with your relationship with food and body image, and you're trying to do your life, there's only so much you have available to do that. So let's talk today about what might be some of the reasons that people have what I call exercise hesitance. I don't like to use the word resistance, because it's like, basically you're saying, well, I just don't want to, and I don't want to do anything about it, and that's okay. But, so again, just the disclaimer at the top of the bat that it's okay not to want to move. You don't have to. There's no moral obligation. You might have inkling, and you might even have any inklings in your body right now that you want to. And if you don't, maybe that means you don't need to right now. Maybe that means there needs to be a physical, emotional, mental rest time from the idea of this. And I trust my body, I trust your body to, when there's a strong sense of something needs to happen, in and with the body you have, with the capabilities you have, that we will slowly, slowly work there. But I'm going to give you right now a little list of things. It's a very small list. It's not all the things that I hear, I've heard over the years in sessions, and even that I've experienced myself, about, well, what would be some reasons that make it hard for us to get moving, if that's something that we're curious about or maybe desire. And again, this has to come from a place of, I feel that I want to move, and not like, oh, I should move. Because if that's the shoulds, the motive, you're going to really struggle and suffer more than you have to. So let's suspend the shoulds and the have tos and the guilt, because we don't want to start this process off from that place. We want to start off with, my body's been through a lot. And, I also remember a time maybe when I'm going to be really neutral about this, that it was okay to move. It wasn't even that I liked to move. Some of you maybe have had experiences where I remember a time when I liked to play and I liked to move and ride my bike, and maybe you played sports, but at some point that tipped over the edge of too much and obsessive or whatever. So maybe you have some experiences, maybe you don't. There are circumstances where people don't remember enjoying playing or moving their bodies or having an activity they liked. And so that's maybe one of the reasons why it's like, I don't know how to connect with movement that feels peaceful or even non-stressful, because I never learned activities ever that help me feel good in my body. So that's maybe your place to start, is grieving some of that, and really slowly seeing where you can feel safe and exploring some options to move in a way that you feel that you won't be stigmatized or worried about what other people think. I think it's the first step. If you have a competitive nature, you might find that got so burnt out in you from all those years of pushing yourself too hard that, like, the idea of doing anything like that feels totally repulsive. So we need to honor that. And you might need to think about activities of the polar opposite. Nothing that accomplishes anything except for the fact that you might take a stroll and move your body and watch birds. That's maybe all you need right now. Anyway, I've got a few other options here on this list I want to talk about for the reasons we might have exercise hesitance. I'm not going to go, again, this video could be a full class, like hours long, but I just want to put that out there too. So some other reasons that we might struggle with finding things that we like to do, or just kind of struggling to get moving, that we like to. And if you're just watching live, please go back to the beginnings. I talked about non-obligatory, you don't have to move, but I just want to make sure that's all clear before we dive into some things. So in my head, I probably have about 12 things I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm only going to have time for about 4 or 5 here. So hang in there with me with that. All right, so I know a lot of clients struggle with wanting to move when they've been constantly pushed to exercise for their own good, for their health. Yeah, it's not going to cut it. We're going to be like, don't tell me what to do, and make this about, if this was really about my health, you wouldn't be so stressing me out about this. Like, my body's capable of wanting to move. So, apologies in the background. My poor dog is coughing. So, I wish I could turn the volume down on that, but I can't. Overtraining. I know this was one of my hesitances that I had to work through, is like I pushed myself so hard that it wasn't fun. It was all pain. It was like all pain, no gain, essentially. And I had to learn that, like, even accelerated heart rate or feeling some sweat or whatever wasn't meaning I was going to hurt myself again. I had a lot of, I hate to overuse this word, but I had some trauma around, like, just how hard I pushed myself, and there was nothing good about it. So I had to be very mentally with myself and very compassionate, like, this is what you're doing right now, Tracy. It's 2000 whatever, and it's not those times. And so that was one of the several things that I had to work through personally. I haven't talked as much about somatic work recently, but I want to come back to that in this video right now, is that, like, if you're in a more self-preservation state, you don't have as much energy to mobilize, to want to do something. So it's not the same thing as being depressed. It can feel like that, but it's really just like, I don't have the juice for it, and I want to do it, but man, I feel so down, or I feel so kind of like, I don't know what's going on, that I was going to, but that 10 minutes just drifted by that I could have done it. And it doesn't always feel like that you're fearful or anxious. Just sometimes we lose track of things, and that can happen a lot in your day, to where, like, I meant to do stuff, or I wanted to and I didn't get to it, or it felt like getting to it was hard. Sometimes that's fear, sometimes that's that kind of, like, I call it functional freeze state, where it's like hard to get going and have a lot of mobilized energy to do much of anything besides what's automatic. So that's something you want to work through with somebody, because to help you not, to widen your window of tolerance, to have more energy to do stuff. Sometimes it's that. When we talk about energy, sometimes it's that state. Sometimes it's just, if you really are honest, like, look at your life. It's like, when am I even going to do it? And we beat ourselves up thinking that I should have more time for it, when maybe you actually don't. And we need to look at your life, and if there's something that could give, or if there's a way to actually move in a way that's not piling on one more thing to do. And the last reason I'll use today, again, I have probably a dozen more, but I know I don't have time for that today in this video. But being bullied about how you move, what your how, this goes back to, like, probably being a kid and not being as good at sports, or being the physical education classes that maybe you endured that weren't so great, or maybe it's outside of, like, a school environment. It's just more of a community or a family environment, or being out and about, out in public, and being ridiculed for being out there doing stuff. If you don't feel safe, or you feel like you're going to be drawing attention to yourself in a negative way for moving, that doesn't always feel good, and it can make us hesitant to want to do it again. So all really understandable. So if you're having any bodily reactions, or things come up for you, be gentle with it. If you can stay present to that, feel what you feel from that, and give yourself some space and some compassion. Again, there's other reasons why this could be an issue for you that I didn't cover in this video. So if you think I missed something, or I missed something, I know I missed some things, put it below, message me. We can do a part 2 of this video if you like, but let me know. And what I would say is the solution for this is really taking some time to work through, like, what are some of your blocks? And if you're having trouble working through why that is, or figuring out, like, how I proceed to the next step, contact me, let me know. Please pass this video along to your friends that might be struggling with the same stuff of, like, I want to go, but I can't get going, or I want to do, but I don't know how to make it happen. Sometimes we get looped in there. So there are solutions, and let me know how I can help. So I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.